Here we come, CBSN Minnesota Morning Update. I'm Jason DeRusha. Glad to be with you today. It's Tuesday morning. Hope you had a nice time out in the beautiful weather yesterday. Wasn't it great? I got in a little bike ride. Well, does it count as a bike ride if I'm commuting? I was sort of commuting. It counts. All right, thank you, Ron. Don't take this bike ride away from me. Commuting to Maple Grove High School because my 16-year-old runs my household now. So 16-year-old gets to drive to school. Dad gets to ride his bike. All right, let's take a look at the weather forecast for today. Yeah, it's going to be summer again. Summer, hot time, summer in the city. I enjoy it. Like, it's great, right? Sunny, enjoy it. Going to be 80, maybe 82 today, 84 tomorrow. Bear in mind the average high for this time of year is 68. Right. So it's sweet out there. So enjoy it. And we do expect some scattered showers near the end of the week. So we'll be watching for that. We'll keep you up to date for sure. Let's talk about cursive writing. So I remember learning cursive with a method called the Danielian method. Do any of you guys remember that? Like, you had the kind of thick, wide lines, and you had to make like the little cursive and all of this. Learn how to sign your name. I used to sign my J's like the J in John Hancock, like just very over dramatic. Some lawmakers in Wisconsin have decided they would like to make it mandatory for all elementary schools to teach it. There is research that argues that learning cursive can stimulate different parts of the brain and improve education. But there also is reality of modern communication that generally focuses on typing and texting and less on handwriting. Think about what is the last thing that you actually, other than like a greeting card or a birthday card, what do you use cursive for? So what do you think? In Wisconsin, as everything at a state legislature, there is a political component to this. Republicans want to mandate it. Part of sort of an overall thing saying that schools are getting off the rails and not focusing enough on the good old reading, writing, and arithmetic. So what do you think? Should students be required to learn cursive? You know, with younger kids especially, there's some fine motor skills that you learn through that. So what do you think? Should it be a requirement? We'll share through some of your comments in a moment. And what is your favorite letter to make in cursive? All right, we'll share some of your comments coming up. You have to type them, though. You can't script. A scuffle broke out during a Twin City School Board meeting. The meeting was about a mask mandate.
Stop. Hey. Whoa, guys, come on. Hey, officers, please come to the room.
Officers.
See the woman in the pink shirt there? Both hands over the mask? Isn't that how we all feel about this? Come on. What is going on in Chaska? We've learned that it appears this dispute, and this was a mask meeting, and someone was apparently taking a picture of somebody else who wasn't wearing a mask. And that made someone else mad, and so there you go. Earlier, speakers talked about their support or opposition to a masking policy. Yesterday, the district announced that all students in the eastern Carver County schools would need to mask up through at least the middle of next month because of a rise in COVID-19 cases they're seeing at the schools there. This graphic, I don't know, it's hard to know what to make of all of this, right? This does show a major increase in cases, but it's also kind of a no-duh graphic, right? Like, there were not many cases in Minnesota schools when there were no students in Minnesota schools, kind of in mid-August when just a handful of schools were in session. But if you look at how many students are in school all over the state, the fact that we only have 800 cases or so, like, is that a lot? Is that not? I guess it depends how it breaks out, and it depends how it affects your family, right? But that does show sort of the reality of what is going on out there right now. Minnesota is on the verge of selling off a massive warehouse that was purchased as sort of a safety valve in the event they needed COVID-19 morgue. We saw in other states where there were kind of refrigerated trucks housing bodies because of COVID deaths. And in Minnesota, they bought this refrigerated warehouse. The state bought it from the St. Paul Port Authority, and they paid $5.5 million. Never used it. Thank goodness, right? It was a controversial purchase. The St. Paul Port Authority board would like to buy it back. When the state bought it, it was kind of written into the contract that they wouldn't lose money, whatever. So we'll see what they decide on that. Obviously, in St. Paul, they'd like to use that site, perhaps as a warehouse or something to generate some jobs. 3 weeks after passing the deadline, this has been a tough thing to figure out. It sounded so good, right? The state is saying, look, frontline workers did so much during the pandemic. Let's create a pool of $250 million, and we'll give bonuses to people. And you think, what a great use of the federal money that came in. State signed off on this. The legislature said, yep, that sounds good, in June. But there was a group that was supposed to sort out exactly who qualifies as a frontline worker, how much money should they get. And the problem is the more people you put in the pool, the less impactful that money becomes. The original plan was to vote on a final plan in a special session this month. Standstill leaving some frustrated.
At this point, we just need validation that what we did and what we're continuing to do is appreciated. And that's what this would do.
I mean, there's no debate that nurses put their lives on the line. We're so grateful for them. But who do you put in the pool? Nurses, nursing home workers. Everyone agrees on that. But if you look at the total number of essential workers, there are about 640,000 people considered essential and unable to work from home this pandemic. So it's a tough one. Do you include police officers, for example? Do you include news people? What about the grocery store workers or the Amazon factory workers? You start throwing everyone in there and, well, this is why you have this debate going on. It's a tough one. Investigators are offering a reward for information about a fire that gutted a century-old church. This video, devastating to the community at the Sacred Heart of Jesus Polish National Catholic Church in northeast Minneapolis. Last spring, those flames shooting through the roof caused the roof to collapse, and fire investigators said somebody set this. And so they just shared this surveillance video showing a man in that area right around the time the fire started. The ATF thinks this man has valuable information about what happened. They're not saying he did it, but they're saying, what's going on here? $5,000 reward being offered for information. Who is this guy? 888-ATF-TIPS, or you can call 911, or you can call me. Just give me a call. I will get you in touch with the authorities. A billionaire and a Hall of Famer come to town, and they say owning the Minnesota Timberwolves is a dream come true. Yes, there is some chaos as the backdrop, right? The Timberwolves just fired Gerson Rosas, their head of basketball operations. The Lynx just lost and got bounced from the playoffs. But Mark Laurie and Alex Rodriguez are hoping that they are a sign of new hope and new life for these teams. They will eventually become the majority owners of the Timberwolves and the Lynx. Glenn Taylor still in charge for the next couple of years. But the new guys have some ideas.
And they deserve a winner. I remember watching as a young kid the Minnesota Twins with Ken Herbeck, Jack Morris, and of course Kirby Puckett, one of my heroes. And boy, I tell you, when you have a winning team, the fans show up in a big way, and they're winners. And I think they're starving for a winner.
So they had a news conference. Then the team did media day. They take the pictures. They meet with reporters. It's normally a time for optimism, but boy, Karl Anthony Towns has been through so much as a player for the Timberwolves, and he reflected on this sort of bizarre week.
What happened last week, it just added to the list. It's just the same thing every single time. It's something that's always leads to instability, and I joked about it the day before that I was like, man, it's been a real quiet offseason for Minnesota. It's very different. Boom. made sure they had one left in the hat.
Yeah, you can sense the frustration from Carl in that. But we'll see. New owners, it's only the ownership. Ultimately, the players playing well is what matters. And there's a lot to be excited about. You've got Anthony Edwards, you got Karl Anthony Towns, and you've got D. Loading. So you got those three. That's a pretty strong trio. And so hopefully there's some things to be excited about with the Timberwolves this season. All right, let's talk about cursive handwriting. I remember. The worst grade I ever got in my academic career was in handwriting. First grade, I got a D. Miss Miskett, I remember you. I deserved it. And the next quarter, I had an A. I think Miss Miskett knew how to motivate me. Let's take a look at your thoughts on whether cursive should be required. Joe Myers is a father of two. I can't believe this is being discussed. We also don't teach Latin or calligraphy. We need to keep up with modern times. Thanks, Joe. Here's Kimberly Haynes. Yeah, they need to know how to sign their name and read cursive. I love making J's. I hear ya. I'm a big fan of the J, too. They do need to sign their names, but, can't you sort of like half cursive, half print it? Seems like we're all signing digitally now. Anyway, Cindy says we need cursive. How can they sign checks or contracts? I mean, you could just print your name, right? Do you have to use cursive? I mean, you don't need to teach it to have kids, figure out how to sign your name. Thanks, Cindy. Carmen. Nope. Spend the time learning science or math. Last time I signed legal documents, I did it electronically. I haven't used checks in at least 5 years. If I write, it's pretty much print anyway. Carmen, I get that viewpoint, I do. The only time I write a check is if a kid comes to my door and is trying to sell wrapping paper or something like that, All right, one more comment from you guys this morning. Charles said cursive should be taught. We can't open a bank account without a signature. Our passports need a signature also. Very good. Thank you all for your feedback. I mean, I don't know. Just speaking for myself here, I feel like we could teach people how to sign their name. Ron, how long do you think it would take to teach a kid to sign their name? A day? An hour? 20 minutes? Do we need to require this? Ay. All right. Morning update, CBSN, Minnesota. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you. Sign off. Please, everyone, leave me your signature so I can steal your identity later. We'll see you later.